Welcome back to the NASCAR Nationwide Series here at Kentucky. Make sure to go to NASCAR.com for all your latest NASCAR information. With 44 laps complete of 200, the 32 of Reed Sorensen, our race leader. He led 15 laps last week. His first laps led a 2010, and now his first time ever leading here at Kentucky. He is our fourth different leader. We've had a total of 3 lean changes. We now have a total of Chase Miller, Mark Green, Daniel Quinn, Carter, and Setzer out of this race. Moving a little bit further back in the field, we pick up Paul Menard and Mr. Presley. Coleman doing a nice job right now. He's got a lot of pressure on the double-duty driver in the 98.
Yeah, definitely want to give a shout out to Coleman Presley, Andy. Just looking awful strong right now to me.
Yeah, he took 2 tires that last pit stop. The 98 car took 4, so he looks pretty good right now because he's able to keep pace and actually put pressure on Paul.
Coleman can outdo Dad. Back in 2004, Robert started here just the one time, 21st in his only start at Kentucky. He finished 16th that night. Let's get an update on the 98 of Paul Menard. Dave, what are you hearing?
Well, Marty, in countdown, Alan referred to the fact that he had some issues in qualifying. The car actually wouldn't fire, and they didn't take their assigned spot in qualifying. They had to come back down pit road for a quick check. When he went out, he switched ignition boxes, and that seemed to help. Let's go to the Craftsman Tech Garage and Tim Brewer. And Tim, what's the procedure for a driver to switch ignition boxes on the fly?
Thanks, Dave. That's a pretty good question. The driver has a switch right here on the dash. You see primary ignition system. When he flips it to the backup system, he actually changes the coil, the ignition box. But what we have in addition to that, we've got 2 pickups in the distributor right here. The distributor sits in the front of the engine. But when you change the pickup point from A to B, you also change how the engine is fired. So you're changing the entire system in the car.
Tell you what, that's pretty doggone slick when you can do that. Change that much. The coils, ignition boxes, the distributor pretty well isolates all the problems.
It's almost like an airplane has two ignition systems. The only thing that a race car doesn't have is 2 sets of plugs per cylinder. Only 1 set of spark plugs, but 2 completely separate ignition systems.
Well, if you want 2 spark plugs, we could do that in drag racing. Top Fuel and Funny Cars, they'll do it over there. All right, let's take a look there. You see Coleman Presley, where he started 9th, currently running 11th. Vince, what's the latest?
Well, he's lost a couple of spots, but that's not necessarily a negative situation. They're pretty happy with the race car. Said it was a little free in the center during that first run. But more than anything, they just want Coleman Presley to get the experience. You see the car coming in on the inside of him now. But in that 88, this team, this junior motorsports team, was so impressed with the way Coleman Presley ran at Darlington. As you see Brad Keselowski pull up alongside of him now. But with very little experience, Coleman Presley did a great job at Darlington, brought the car in. Pops Yuri said didn't even have a mark on the right side of the car. And you can do that at Darlington. You're a pretty good race car driver. We wanted that guy in our car. Not sure how many more races Coleman Presley's going to get in the 88, but he sure has been impressive in the 2 opportunities he's had.
Well, the guy that used to drive the 88 just went around him for 11th. Let's move farther forward, and we can see Josh Wise under attack from Stephen Wallace. This is for 7th. Now, Stephen finished 8th last week, so it looks like some of those changes you and the team made are paying some dividends.
Well, Brad Doherty was talking earlier in our countdown show about testing. We just started doing some testing, and it's helped both of these cars. I mean, there's a limited testing available now. I don't necessarily agree with it. I think these guys got need a little more freedom. But, man, whenever you get on the racetrack and try some things and you're not in competition, it's just a better deal. And so far, it's working for us.
Let's also be honest. I mean, you made some personnel changes as well.
Yeah, I made some personnel changes a little bit. And hey, one thing I had fun with, I got to drive the car. That was pretty cool.
Well, Josh Wise, you see him there going underneath Robert Richardson Jr. in the 23. And Stephen pulling away from Josh right now. And Wallace safely ensconced in 7th place. Now we're getting a little more interesting towards the front because Joey Logano is reeling in his teammate Brad Coleman. Remember, Coleman did not take tires on that competition yellow.
Yeah, they had 20 laps on these tires from the start when they had that competition yellow. So, yeah, the tire wear is good here. It's pretty even left to right. And, yeah, the speed holds up well. But I think over a long run, somebody that has 4 tires can definitely overhaul you, at the end of the run.
And this is a complete different tire than these guys raced here last year. And all the drivers seem to like the tire. It's the same 4 tires that they raced at Dover, Delaware. Pretty good combination of tire. But Joey Logano did tell us when he got here, he said, hey, this car is driving different. We had to change some things to adapt to this new tire.
you look on the right side of your screen, there's the 22 car Keselowski. I'm watching his lap times, and they are some of the fastest that I've seen. I think he's going to be one to deal with. You see the pass there for second.
Yeah, I still think you're going to have to deal with the 20 before you go to any place else, because he just went around to take over second position from Brad Coleman. He is 2.9 seconds behind the race leader. Meanwhile, Keselowski looks like he is going to be moving into the top 10, and yes, he has.
Yeah, he's got a good car, too. And talking about Keselowski, he came over yesterday. We talked earlier in the show about this also, and tested his car, made the effort to come from Michigan all the way down here to Kentucky. Not a big, long way, but getting this car to get it to his liking, and I think that's very important.
Definitely shows the commitment level.
So he is moving quickly and looking at Michael Annett as his next potential pass. There is the race leader all the way over there, the 32 of Reed Sorensen. He's got a 2.7 second lead after 55 laps. Does Reed pick up the win in the 32 tonight? Stay with us to find out.
Another classic NBA Finals between the Celtics and Lakers continues Sunday night with Game 5. This the last game in Boston before they head back to L.A. to decide it. Tied at 2 apiece.
Celtics look good. I'll tell you what, I think they might get those L.A. Lakers.
Critical Game 5, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific, ABC, Sunday night. Coverage begins with GMC Sierra NBA Countdown at 7:30 Eastern. Here at Kentucky Motor Speedway, we are just past the 1/4 mark of tonight's 300-mile race, and Reed Sorensen is out in front. Track position apparently going to be king tonight, Brad.
Yeah, I agree with you, Alan. You see Joey Logano has yet to get back to that #1 position that he held early on the race, led 22 laps. Once we had pit stops and Sorensen was able to get out front, he has not been able to pick that back up. Scott Riggs had a penalty on pit road, and he's going to go a lap down. He has not been able to make the room back up as well. Tough. He is a lap down. Tough to make up that track position.
Remember, Logano got shuffled back by others' strategy on the first set of pit stops, which came back at lap 22. Logano trying to reel in Sorensen now as we take you up to speed. For an update on some of the front runners in the leaders' pits is the doctor.
Thank you very much, AB. You know, last week in Nashville, after the final practice session, everyone, including many of us, thought Reed Sorensen would be the guy to beat. But unfortunately, the car would not respond during the race. It was too tight. Track bar, wedge, air pressure, rubber in the left rear. Nothing would help the car. He settled for a 7th-place finish. Tonight, on lap 25 competition yellow, he said, I need a little bit more front grip. They made an air pressure adjustment in the right front, and now Reed says the car is perfect. Dave.
Doc, for defending race winner Joey Logano, this is the difference this year. Goodyear brought an improved tire to the racetrack. But as you talk with the teams, there are adjustments to be made to this better tire. Kevin Kidd, the crew chief for Joey Logano, told me that the notes that they had from the last 2 wins, well, they're very good notes, but they don't include this tire. And it affects what they do so much that they really had to adjust this weekend. And obviously, they made good adjustments. Jamie?
And Brad Coleman in the 18 behind him in his 2nd of 7 races. Now, he says the car is getting better. It's coming around, but he is still on those old tires, so he is getting a little tight. He has a new spotter up high. That's Curtis Markham, Denny Hamlin's Cup spotter, so the two are working together and doing a heck of a job as he navigates around traffic. Behind him, Justin Allgaier. His crew chief, Chad Walter, missed practice yesterday for his son's graduation, but he made it back in time to be on the box here tonight. The car is getting a little bit aero tight and loose in. Dave?
Running 5th is Mike Bliss, Jamie, in that 33 car. Remember, they only took on 2 right side tires during that first pit stop, and Mike radioed into his crew that he needs to be a little bit freer. However, he feels that when they put on 4 tires that have never been used before, that's going to fix the condition. For Ernie Cope, it's a challenge now to figure out if that changes over time here as this run goes on. Jamie?
And Stephen Wallace has moved up to 6th. He started 16th, already gained 10 positions. Says since the last pit stop when they made that track bar adjustment, the car is great now in 1 and 2. He's still a little bit tight in 3 and 4. Remember, Stephen Wallace won an ARCA race here back in 2006. He knows how to get around here, Doc.
Indeed he does. And back in 7th spot, Scott Lagasse in the 43 car. And according to the team, and Scott this afternoon, as he tries to hold off the 22 car of Brad Keselowski for position, this could be the final race for quite some time for the year for Scott Lagasse. Nothing scheduled after tonight. He thought he would have a top 5 last week at Nashville prior to being involved with another car and finishing in the garage area. He needs a top 5 finish tonight And if he does, he's going to have to hold off that 22 car, Vince.
Well, that 22 is Brad Keselowski. He was the winner last week at Nashville. He's the current points leader as he goes to make the move underneath the 43. Keselowski says the car is not good at the start of the run. He said it's really fighting the front. They think maybe because of the low air pressures, but it gets better as the run progresses. Believe it or not, he says, I'm just being patient, but he's picking up a lot of cars as patient. Alan?
All right, Vince, thanks. So an update on the front runners at this point, and Keselowski continuing to chip his way toward the front. Joey Logano continuing to chip into Reed Sorensen's lead, but still 1 full second between the number 1 and number 2 position drivers at lap 70 of 200. The NASCAR Nationwide Series from Kentucky. We're coming back in a minute. Reed Sorensen is out in front of this one.